Welcome to the joy of coding.
Welcome to episode 50. I sort of screwed the pooch on the intro. Sorry about that. Once again, I wasn't recording, but luckily I have a note in my agenda to always check, and I happened to catch it early. So you didn't miss much. All I mentioned was that there's an agenda. There's an agenda. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page on Airmozilla and choose additional links, there's an agenda, and you can follow along as I do my stuff, and that's handy. And so yeah, if I've been away for a couple of weeks. Sorry about that. I'm back now, and I hope you had a good 2 weeks. And what do I want to do today? Oh, a couple of things. First of all, no more Flash. I don't know if you noticed this. If you're watching this on Airmozilla, like at least for streaming live, I'm not sure if this is going to be true for the recording. I hope so. Actually, I'm pretty sure you never needed Flash to watch the recording. But at least for the live stream, you no longer need Flash. Yay! Flash is not required. That's the best. Thank you so much, Richard Miliuski. You're doing amazing work down in Airmozilla land, and I thank you. So what are we doing today? What is the goal? What are we working on? That's a great question. What we're going to do is we're going to try and make an improvement on a Talos regression. This is something that I think we were kind of dipping into last episode, where we had like this T-paint regression, and we were trying to like check to see whether or not it was real, and it's real. And I've broken it down. Through a bunch of profiling and a bunch of experimentation, I've broken it down into a series of tasks that I think will allow us to not only get parity, mostly parity, for most platforms. That's why I say mostly parity. Parity or beating non-E10S for T-Paint, which is great. And I'm hoping we can do some of the work today to actually do that. And what is the work I'm talking about? So there is this bug 1254865. There's a link in the agenda, and this is the bug I want to work on today. So let's take a look at it. Right, so when we open a new tab or a new window, anything that has a brand new browser tab in it, that's a new tab, new window, we load a frame script in the browser that got created. A frame script is just some instructions for the browser in the content process to execute. So that frame script, a couple of frame scripts get loaded, but at the one of them is called browser-child.js. All remote browsers get this. And at the very bottom, actually, I'm looking at some code I've modified, so I'm going to look at it on DXR. At the very bottom of browser-child.js, browser-child.js, there is this send sync message. We send a sync message right at the end of the script saying that the browser started. And we pass up the outer window ID of the outermost window, and that's a way we can like uniquely identify the window, which is handy for a couple of things. But we receive messages, or we receive information back from the parent from the sync message. And by sync message, I mean like we send it, we wait for the parent to respond, and we are waiting. Like we sit here waiting for init data to be populated, and then the parent responds, and then we're able to make decisions based on what the parent gave back. And while we're waiting for this information, we are blocked. We cannot paint, we cannot do anything in the content process, and that is slowing us down. That is contributing to the slowdown. So what is my proposal? My proposal is that we shouldn't actually need to send this sync message. It's sort of an anti-pattern to send a sync message as soon as you like open a thing. Like you create a thing and then it sends a sync message for information. You should have sent that information down when you first created the thing in the first place. So that's kind of my proposal here. Now there are two pieces of information. Well, really there are three pieces of information that browser init is concerned with. The first piece of information is the outer window ID, and the good news is there's not a whole lot we need to do differently here. If we send this as an async message, the parent process is going to receive it in the same amount of time that it would have received it if we had sent it with a sync message. There's no like, I don't believe there's an increase in priority or anything. I'm pretty sure they're all sent in order. So the outer window ID is going to be received at the same time, even if we use an async message. So we can leave the outer window ID, but it's this init data stuff that we need to mess around with. There's two here, two pieces of information that init data is concerned with. And let me actually pull up. Um, let me pull up uh, the other side, the thing that's sending the information down. That's up in here. Actually, sorry, no, that's not up in here. Uh, that's down here. Remote browser, yes. So when we receive this message from the parent, from the child is waiting for this information. We construct a result, and we say whether or not the browser that was created, the remote browser in the parent process, has the disable global history attribute on it. And we also see whether or not there's an autocomplete pop-up defined on the browser. And autocomplete pop-up is like we have an attribute on the browser that should be autocomplete pop-up, but we make sure that that element exists, and if it does exist, then we return true. And so that way we can tell the content process, yes, we have an autocomplete pop-up, initialize your autocomplete stuff. And I think we can do away with some of this. Here's what I'm thinking. For disable global history, when we create a window, so now here's the thing: there are two ways of creating of having that browser-child.js run. When the parent creates a new window or browser, let's say a new browser, because it could be a new window, it could be a new tab. Basically, anytime a thing that can show the web is created, there are two ways of doing it. One is that the parent causes it to open, and two is that the child causes it to open. And one is very common. That's when you open a new tab, you click on the new tab button, or you, I don't know, hit command click on a link, and that will open a new tab for you. Now the other case is when content opens a new browser, and that happens whenever you click on a window.open link, um, so or like a target underscore blank link, and what's happening there is that content is saying the web page is asking for a new window, give me a new window, and I can load stuff into it. So in that case, content is actually requesting that the window be open, and not the user, not directly anyways. The user is doing an action that's causing content to ask for a new window, as opposed to the user asking for a new window or a new tab. Okay, so all of that's kind of long-winded. That's a lot of detail. But the disable global history attribute is something that we want to pay attention to whether or not the parent or the child opened it. And this create window message is what comes up when the child is opening the window. So in that case, this is a sync message from the child again. We can't really avoid this one. But what we can do is whenever the parent responds to that sync message, it can send down whether or not the browser has the disable global history attribute set on the browser, and in the response to the create window message. So we actually will be combining part of the browser init sync message with the create window message, which is also sync, but we cannot avoid. So that's good. The more we can combine sync messages, the better. Now that's going to work, and that's fine. I have no worries about that. The other case is if the parent opens the new browser, then we also need to send down the disable global history attribute state. So it sort of needs to become yeah, if the parent is causing the construction, it needs to be able to send down the disable global history state on construction. Yeah, and that's important. I mean, what is disable global history state? Or disable global history? And that's, we tell the doc shell, the root doc shell of the browser we just opened, to not store stuff in the global history. And that's, I guess, a feature that can be, let's see if we can find it. Disable global history, Zool. Disables global history for the doc shell attached to the browser while keeping session history alive. And what's global history? Global history is like, I believe, like writing to session store, is my understanding. Disable global history. I just want to make sure that before we get into this, we should probably make sure that it needs fixing. Like, is disable global history even a thing that still works anymore? We should just double check. So here's in DocShell where we set to use global history. Uh, okay. There's this history service. Then, so if use global history is true, then we set m global history to be the service of NSI or of iHistory, and that contract is global dash history 2, and who implements that? Let's see. Does anyone implement that? Does anyone actually implement global history? Is global history a thing that actually exists anymore? If history, if m global history, turn OK, do get service, history service, get history service. It looks like it, at the very least, yes. Yes, it is being, it exists. It exists. Get history service. History in toolkit components places. Nav history. So I think this is all kind of part of session store. I wish I could find the implementation. Where is the implementation here? Forget history service. I don't know. But what is what is it? iHistory? IDL? iHistory. Register visited callback. So that's when we visited. So I wonder if that might have something to do with setting the visitedness of the URI. That's what it looks like here. So whether or not the link should be blue or purple, that sort of thing. All right. All right. All right. So that is a thing that we still need to be able to support. So let's, now that I know more or less how to do the disable global history synchronization and setting from the content process, I need to be able to make sure that we can do it from the parent process as well. So when the parent creates a remote browser, there's this like a frame loader, a remote frame loader is created. Try remote browser. If we're creating a remote browser, we'll try to create a remote browser here. And what happens is opening tab, get from. Parent opening tab, if opening tab, manager. Someone has a question, but I'm going to let him know that I am live hacking. Hey. So, I'm live hacking at the moment, so you can ask. Okay. When would there be an opening tab? If the parent doc shell, if there's an opener. Oh, that's just get the opening content parent. Create browser or app. Okay. So where do we... This might be it. Create browser or app. Content parent.cpp. If you can't launch a sub process, then we get out of here. Otherwise, we get the next tab parent. Sorry for smacking my microphone here. Try and allocate a tab ID. This is if it's a browser, is Moz browser element. Otherwise, oh man, there's a lot of like B2G specific stuff in here. Ah, send p browser constructor. That's what we care about. Both of these. So this one and probably this one. Um, Although this first one, I'd like to understand what it's for. Yeah, okay, if you are a Moz browser element or you're some kind of like, or if you're, I think this is some B2G stuff. Parent construct tab, parent constructs deallocate releases this ref. Then we get the tab ID, all of this stuff. Okay, so I think we can, do it. Are there any other places where we do send p browser constructor? Huh. No, those are the only two places. And at this point, do we have the frame loader? We have a frame element, so that's good. That means that we can get the attribute off of it. A frame element. Get attribute, like that sort of thing. We'll get the attribute off of it. Okay. So first step, let's do this. Let's break this down to steps. Step 1. For the p browser constructor sent from the parent, include a disable global history attribute. Disable global history argument in the IPDL. Add the disable global history handling in content parent.cpp. Add the disable global history handling in tab child.cpp. And then we need to do the other half, which is tab disable global history handling in, what was it called? What is this method called? Create browser or app. In there, and tab child in the constructor. And then we want to add the disable global history arguments to the create window method sync message to the parent. Okay. Okay. And I think that'll do it. That'll take care of disable global history. For init pop-up, I think this is a lot simpler. That's not a thing that needs to be done right away. I mean, the reason I'm doing that disable global history thing right away is to make sure that we don't actually write anything to global history when we really, really didn't want to. Because that can occur if, like, for example, I've got some soup here. I hope that's okay. That can occur, I suppose, if we were, for example, waiting for a sync message to tell us to disable global history, but there was a message before that that was like load a link, and that would cause that link to be written to global history before we disabled it. So we need to make sure that we prioritize disabling global history ASAP, so that stuff that is not supposed to get in there doesn't. Okay. And then what about testing? I need to write a Moki test Chrome test. Or perhaps, yeah. Okay. So that's, so what I'm thinking for init pop-up anyways is after the browser init message comes up, we can send down an async message saying, I have an autocomplete pop-up. Go ahead and initialize your stuff. Send async message down after browser init comes in with autocomplete. Pop-up state have browser -child.js receive autocomplete pop-up state. Is there something in browser child already about app tab? No. I guess that's Firefox specific. Okay. So I think we got a good chunk of work laid out here. We've broken it down. Testing, I'll probably have to write some tests. I'm not sure if I'll get to that today, but I think we could probably try knocking a good chunk of this out. Maybe even all of it. So let's see what we can do. Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah, let's get to it. Um, uh, sorry. I was distracted by some conversation in IRC. Let's do it. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I've got the right branch checked out to work on this. Kind of. I'm in the right spot. I'm right after this patch that I was monkeying around with to get rid of I sloppily just got rid of the browser init sync message entirely to prove that doing so was like my little prototype to make sure that the idea would actually make an improvement, and it did. So I think what I'm going to do is update to that, and we're going to modify this one. So the original patch was to just comment out, comment this out, and then this was like send sync message. So I'm gonna put this back in the reset state, but we're gonna get rid of that stuff anyways. So let's talk about p browser. So there's a constructor that we need to be able to send the disable global history state down with. Oh, actually, sorry, it's p content is the one who manages p browser. The child creates p browser. Okay. Keep the last three attributes in sync with get process attributes. Okay. So I guess I'll make sure that, what is get process attributes? CPID is for app, is for browser. So if I'm going to add something, I should probably add it here. Um, bool disable global history. So now I've got this new argument here that's going to be received from by content parent. I think p browser constructor. P browser. Alloc. P browser, is that what it is? Alloc. Yeah, this is going to need to be modified. So we added the disable global history after the Chrome flags. So we'll do const bool a disable global history. A disable global history. And so we're calling into NSI content parent. NSI content parent. Alloc p browser. Where did I put it? I put it right after Chrome flags. Const bool a disable global history. So in the parent process, we actually are going to ignore the disable global history. Disable global history is only paid attention to when the parent constructs the child, so we'll ignore this argument in this case. Okay, let's see. Oh wait, there are some other things that are unused as well. Okay, so actually we can just use the same pattern. Unused a disable global history. Cool. So now I have to change some headers. Si content parent.h will also take const bool disable global history, as well as content parent.h p browser. Virtual send p browser constructor. Oh yeah, this is one I have to update as well. Hide the raw constructor methods since we don't want client code using them. Huh. All right. What else do I need to do? Now I actually need the thing that's, so the child needs to send like something. In this case, false is fine, probably. If it's sending the p browser constructor, so that's in content child. Let me just make sure. P browser constructor. Hey, there's another one here. DXR, you're lying. Content bridge child. Am I gonna have to update this one too? Shoot. I'm gonna have to update that one as well. That is quite possible. I don't even know what that is. The content bridge. Alright. Here it's being called in content parent. Here it's being called in content child. That's important. And then the rest of these are generated. So, content child. We're gonna send false for a Chrome flag after a Chrome flags. A disable global is ignored when P browser is constructed from the child. Okay. Let's see. So what are these content bridge things? They also implement SI content child. Okay. So NSI content child. It's gonna need to be modified. Const bool. Disable global history. Content child CPP. Bunch of things aren't used, and that's fine. And then what is this content bridge child thing? It's the override. So content bridge child P browser constructor. A disable will forward it along, even though it's not going to be used. And then P content bridge parent is the same way. Wait, what was this? This is child. Yeah, this is the implementation content bridge child.h. I probably have to do the there. Oh, here's the other thing is when receiving the constructor. That is when it's important. Disable global history. Receive. A disable global history. Oh man, there's so many things. Content bridge child. So did I do that for parent as well? Look. Receive. Content parent. content parent. Where are all these receive pbrowser constructors? Content bridge child and content child. Interesting. And content bridge child is just sending it to the content child singleton. So it's just forwarding. Where is content child.h? Hope this works. This is all like a lot of work to just do the plumbing to get a thing passed through. Constructor. Okay. Here's where it matters. In the content child. In the parent, it didn't matter. In the child, it did. It did. A disable global history. So from here, if not has run once, notify observers, child. To do something with the tab child, create tab child. Actor. Init process attributes. That's if it's never been initted before. How do we tab child? Where's the constructor for tab child? Who calls that constructor? It's all very confusing. Find callers. It's in content child when we do what? Whenever we provide window common. Also down here, if we're doing the create, we create a tab child. And that happens when we allocate a pbrowser child. We create it. Okay. And I think that's where we want to actually do the work. Allocate pbrowser child. Whoops, that was in the wrong place. Disable global history. Disable global history. And then in SI content child, we're going to construct a tab child. Chrome flags. A disable global history. Tab child create is going to take bool a disable global history. Is there a tab child H? I feel like I'm missing a lot. Like this is really scattershot. Create bool a disable global history. Bool a disable global history. Okay. Tab child. We've created it. We're going to do that. Then we're going to forward it along a disable global history. And then the constructor bool a disable global history. Now we're finally here. if a disable global history. Now, what did we originally do inside browser child? No matter what, so we're going to say doc shell. How do we get the doc shell? Get the doc shell, get the doc shell. I'm on line 646, doc shell. Here. Tab child, tab child. Wait, when was the doc shell created? Get web navigation. So the doc shell will actually get constructed. Create a Puppet widget. Doc shell's here. Where do we create the doc shell? I think like all this init stuff is where we can assume that the doc shell has been created. Where is that web navigation? Tab child, tab child. Where is that implemented? Give me an implementation. Ah. mwebnav. mwebnav equals do query interface on the web browser. Web browser is created here. We create it right at the top when we do tab child init. And when is tab child init called? Who calls you? Who calls you? Ah, and it almost never works. Number of places. After, so in create here, as well as init tab child global. Nope, that's the wrong place. Here, and preload the slow things. Okay. So what I think we're going to do then is we can't do it right away in the constructor of the tab child, but we can stash the decision. Disable global history. A disable global history. Tab child. This is after. Wait, hold on a second. I got the order right. APC child. And then our bool did load. I'm going to put this up here actually. Keep the bools together. Disable after did load URL init. Bool m disable global history. And then when we go to init, doc shell, we do that. It's Chrome. If no, doc shell, what is it? Set use global history. Browser child, set use global history is what? Uh, we want set use global history. Set use global history to be not disable global history. Okay. That should do it, I think. That should do it. But I will wager that this will not build correctly. I have a feeling I missed some places. But what I can do right now is I can get rid of this line. This is no longer a thing that we need to worry about. And where else? Inside the remote browser init. We're not going to send that down anymore. Actually, we have to do this part still. This is the part that we don't have. So that we don't need. Then in content parent, in create window, we open the window, we wait until it's loaded. Where do we? How do we? Oh no. Oh no, is this gonna work? Get frame loaded. I don't know if this is gonna work. So, wait, P browser constructor. That's when the parent. But in the case of the child, no, I think I know what's going on. Browser constructor. Yeah, that's the problem. Shoot. Here's the problem. I didn't foresee something, and I should have. Hang on, let me have another spoonful of my soup. I made a mistake. The mistake is that I thought there was a way from. Oh! I remember what I want to do now. No, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this properly. Sorry, I thought I had screwed the pooch, but I might be okay. But let me quickly. Yeah, okay. I've done the work to make it so that the parent, when opening a browser, can say whether or not to disable the global history, right? Almost. There's this other bit I need to do in create browser or app. Here, I need to add the bits to check the disable global history stuff. Here. So there's still that. Let's do that now. I think we're still okay. I thought I'd made a big mistake. That. Whew, that is a relief. I mean, all this window opening stuff is a nightmare, anyways. It's really complicated. Being able to open the window from the parent or the content is odd, and have different permissions and meanings depending on where they're open from. And so what I think we want to do here is determine whether or not, at this point, um, is there like a, do we ever read the atcher? Yeah, from the frame element. I think this is the sort of thing we want to do in here. Bool disable global history is false. A frame element get atcher. I think we want like has atcher. Has atcher is what we were using before. If that has atcher, okay, and then we have to find the GK atom. Gecko atoms. Gecko atom list. So disable global history. We're gonna have to add it. We're gonna have to add it. So ns dom base as GK atoms list. Gecko layout. Disable history, disable global history is what I want to add here. Taking this meeting in a room or at your live coding desk. What? Meeting? Hold on a second. I hope I don't have a meeting. What meeting? Calendar. Oh. Oh, I don't think I can make it. I don't think I can make this meeting. Due to live hacking. This list takes so long, I can wait. Sorry, sorry folks, I'm just checking a thing. It's not that bad. It's tests. Okay. Okay. I should have said I can't make it though, and so I will do that now. No. Okay. So we're done that. Disable global history atom's been added, and now in the content parent, when we construct, where is it? Here, we're gonna disable global history, has atcher. We're gonna say equals has atcher, and then p browser constructor. It's going to be after that disable global history, and then p browser constructor down here, disable global history. Okay, so that's it in the parent, kind of, and then let's just see what's broken. Certainly things are broken. Let's see what's broken. Let's do a full build. Let's see what's busted. And not just like I'm saying this will not build. I almost guarantee you, if this builds the first time, I will be so surprised.
I can't do my work.
Um, let's see. Let's see. Compiling. Okay, here's things are going horribly wrong. Okay, perfect. That is what. Yep. Yeah. It. Yeah. Yeah. Total meat grinder. Let's go to the top error. Okay. So content bridge parent. I probably missed some headers. That's what happened to start. Content bridge parent. Yeah, here's another place where I missed. Const bool a disable global history. Um, content parent, then content child needs to have the allocator redefined. Content child, alloc p browser. Yep, right there. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. Now what? Alloc p browser child, and now that I've done the header, I need to do the actual implementation. Alloc p browser child. Const bool a disable global history. All of this piping. Pipe, pipe, pipe. This is probably going to have it added as well, actually. Ah. Yeah, I already added it here. Okay, let's see if that fixes any stuff. Huh? Huh? Come on. Export. Export.
It's me, Mario.
Okay, more meat grinder. What's going wrong? Inside content bridge parent. 41. Yeah, I'm missing it here too. Const bool a disable global history. I probably need to add it when my alloc is here. Const bool a disable global history. And then the implementation. I already did it. But down here I need to do it for the implementation. Hoop. Disable global history. Let's go here. Show me what you got. I wonder if I could have just done mock build binaries, and that would have been faster. Okay, more meat grinder. Content bridge parent 102. Says over here is marked override, does not override any member. Hides overloaded virtual functions. Content bridge parent hides overload function. P content bridge parent. Content bridge. Both parent and child can construct the P browser. Between two child processes, when a child process asks the root process to create a new process and then bridge them, the first child will allocate the P content bridge. Open child will allocate. Oh. Oh. So I wonder if between two child processes, when a child process wants to open its own child, it asks the root process to create a new process and then bridge them. The first child will allocate P content bridge parent. Allocate P content bridge child. The protocol is process share P browsers and send messages to each other. Send messages to each other. Is it necessary? Both the parent and the child can construct the P browser. Allocate the P. Well, I'll put it in here too, although I don't know if it's supposed to be in here. Bool disable global history. I got a bad feeling about all this, actually. Like, I wonder if there's a simpler way for me to do all this. I don't think it like that. I think I actually have to do a full build. Is there a good reason why we'd need to support disabling global history from one content to the other? No, because unless we want... Well, unless we want to have things like Moz browsers inside content. It's a bit weird. Warning, it hides it. Note, hidden overload function. Warning. Content bridge parent 102. Hides overload virtual function. alloc p browser parent. Declare different number of parameters in NSI content parent. alloc p browser parent. Right. Const bool a disable global history. Right. Let's try that again. It's possible that this could be simplified somehow, but I don't know how. I feel like we need to send the information about the doc shell right away. But since messages are sent in order, I wonder if it just... Hang on a second. I've got a different idea. What if... either as soon as the parent creates the frame or the child creates the frame, then we immediately send a message down to set the global history. Messages are sent in order, so it should be okay. If we do it immediately, we can ensure that nothing else... I think we can guarantee that nothing else will have slipped in a different message in the meantime. Maybe that's the simpler approach. Here, I'm going to shelve this stuff. I got another idea. I'm almost... This is taking way longer than I thought. Story of my life. How about this? How about instead of doing it on construction, we have an async message. And the parent can... Child. I need child notify async. Async set global history. Set use global history. Bool a use. That might be the simplest approach, actually. Then inside tabchild.h, change notification, we would have a virtual bool receive set use global history const bool a use override. Set use global history, and then we need to implement it. So where's that go? Bool tab child receive set use global history const bool a use. We need to get the doc shell. Si doc shell. We'll do get interface. Wait. Yeah, that'll work, right? Doc shell. Yeah. No matter what, we should return true here. History equals a use. What is the global history state to begin with? Set use global history. Ah. What's the default? Is false. So doc shell set use global history AUs. If not, if NS failed, RV. Oh man, what do we do if that fails? If, yeah. S warning. Failed to global. Failed to set use global history on tab child doc shell. I'm pretty sure that can't happen, or if it, well, I guess it could happen. There are a couple ways that could happen. I'm wrong. Use global history. Where could that go wrong? If we can't get the global history service, for example, which I guess is remotely possible, very remotely possible. The fact that the doc shell might not be around is also, I guess, possible. So that's why I'm stashing this in here, so that in init, that's when we can use it. Unless, is there a init? Preload slow things for iframe init. Let me create. You know what? I don't think so. I'll receive set use global history. Oz assert doc shell. And we'll get rid of that. Maybe we'll see what Smog thinks of that. So now, in the parent, when we say send pbrowser constructor, let's find all the cases where we say send pbrowser constructor in the parent. Or anytime a browser is constructed. So content parent. Alloc pbrowser parent. window. Where's the frame? Do we get anything like the frame loader? Complex. There's new tab parent. No. I just went through all this. Receive. We can only send here in the parent. Allocate the pre-browser parent, content parent. Allocate the pre-browser parent. I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to send the message to say, okay, you are either using or you're not using global history. Where would that be? After the parent has constructed its frame. Try remote browser. After the parent has constructed its frame. Create browser. Create browser or app. So maybe here. How does the window opening stuff even work? Content parent. Auto use new tab. We'll get the new tab that's created soon. And then here's where it gets created. This is where stuff happens. This is where I think we make try remote browser occur, which is going to cause this stuff, and then create browser or app. So I do think we're gonna send a constructor down. Even though the child, the child, new child, we send the new, so we send a message to the parent saying, give me a new tab child. Message is received by the parent. That'll be received first. It's going to construct it. Receive receive pbrowser constructor. Will be received where? Nowhere. Nothing will occur when the child sends this up. It'll just, the actor will be created. And then in content parent, I feel like this like AUNT thing, auto use new tab, is where the magic is. Auto use new tab. So what's new tab? A new tab. We get the tab parent from new tab. So this is the thing that the child sent to us. And then we say, create one of these auto use new tab things. Say that the next tab parent is, oh, we stash it. Okay. S next tab parent. Tab review. The Child Pro sends new browser use. We start that tab in S next tab parent, and then proceed through the browser normal path to create a new window. When it comes time to create a new tab parent, we instead will use S. Oh, that's interesting. I knew that. It's been a while, but I remember that now. S next tab parent. Get next tab parent. Create. So then there's no need to create it. Content already created it. That's interesting. Because content already created it, we don't have to go through all of this. So create browser app is going to be parent, set owner element, frame element, set owner element, tab parent. Oh, I'm learning so much. I hope some of this is also being conveyed. I know I'm doing a lot of thinking. Set owner element. Owner element to the frame element. Set owner element is this. think this is where we do it. I think this is, so set owner element. It looks like when the tab parent is bound to the frame loader element, which in this case is the browser. Or then apparently you can do that. You can, this is how you bind it. And so that's maybe when we, as soon as we attach, because that will happen in both cases when you open it from the parent and when you open it from the child. Try cache DPI and scale. What is that? Oh, previous. Get DPI, default scale. If mFrame element and mFrame element has attrib. So we do actually have to add our atom here. Has attr. Has attr. And then that SGK atoms, disable global history. Then we will unused send. What was the message called? P browser is called send use global history. Oh, if mFrame element. Here, this is what I should do. Ah. Set owner element. This auto things if mFrame element. Bool use use global history equal not that. If we have disable global history, then we will set use global history to false. If we don't have disable global history, then we will set use global history to true, and then we will send p browser set use global history use global history. And that should do it. Let's build that puppy. Let's see what happens. I think that's actually going to take care of both cases. While I'm waiting. Quickly check a thing. What's the time? It's 2:32. I think I'm going to call it soon. We did not get as far as I wanted, but got it pretty far. We didn't go with this plan at all, so I'm gonna strike this from the record. Send an async message ASAP after binding to the frame element regarding whether or not to use global history. And because it defaults to false, that should be safe. Hey, look, it's building. Now, do we have any tests regarding disable global history? Disable global history. Oh, we've got the social sidebar browser has disabled global history. Some social chat stuff. Browser no tabs in UI tour. Create a frame in the hidden dollar so below the URL. Disable global history. Okay. What I really need is the ability to I'll probably need to create some tests for this. Visited. Are there like DOM tests for visited history or doc shell? This to me is like doc shell tests. Doc shell test Chrome. No cache and window and then subframe. Allow content retargeting. Lots of things in here that. So path, doc shell, test Chrome, and then disable. No, how about visited? Visited. Interesting. So there are some visited things here. Okay, so I think we have some tests. Now I don't want to keep you around if this is just going to be a slow ass build. So maybe what I'll do, I do want to see whether or not this completes. So in the meantime, let's pretend that it is going to work out okay. I'm actually going to commit this work. And that'll make that part 1 of this patch. So let's take a look at the diff. Oh, come on. This is not Mercurial's fault. This is just my disk being crazy right now because of how much compiling I'm doing. How much disk? What? There is a diff. Believe. Thank you. Okay, that was Mercurial's fault. So we should we should definitely add a comment here. We should. That's it. That's a simple patch, and if it works, that's good. And the only correction I have is to add a some commenting here. Tells the root child doc shell whether or not to use global history. This is sent soon after browser sent right after the tab parent, the P browser is bound to a frame loader element. Sent right after the P browser is bound to a frame loader element. Hope that's soon enough. Okay, so I'm going to commit. I'm going to say bug. That. Send. Use. Have P browser parent send. Use global history state for doc shell remove. Oh, use global history handling into async from sync child message to async message from parent. I'll probably have Smog look at that if he has the time. He's a busy guy. And then the next step after that is to get rid of the other async message. Wait, what? Where am I in the tree? Oh, huh. Whoops. What I really meant to do was bind. Shoot. Alright, rebase 338274 tip. And just edit R38273. Building, building, building. Wonder if it would help if I shut down my virtual machine. Probably free up some memory. How are my frames doing? Haven't dropped any. Hey, alright. So that's probably freed up some memory a little bit. Let the OS recover a little. And how are we doing on that rebase, Mercurial? Thank you. Now we're going to hist edit. Gonna fold that in. Fold. Come on. All right.
I can't do my work!
All right. So what do we got? Oh. Right. So that's okay. I'll leave those obsolete for now. Okay, I'm happy about that, except that I want to have it be this way instead. Send sync message browser init like this. Then tab. What was it? Tab browser. Oh yeah, I reverted everything. I shelved it all. That's why my changes went away. I remember now. No wait, it's remote browser. Do I actually? I have that open already. Okay. We don't do that one. Commit amend. And then we have to get rid of this other one, which I think we can do pretty easily. Let's try and knock it off right now. I'm going to make it so that a message dot this.message manager.send async message browser init. Okay. I don't know if that's the right message. Browser init. Browser init. Received. Let's do that for now. And then we'll say init popup. This.autocomplete popup is not equal null. And then in browser child, we'll make this an async message. Add message listener browser init received function on init received. Remove message listener browser init received on init received. If message.data.init popup, then autocomplete popup.init. I'm not sure if it's necessary to do this set timeout thing. I'm going to say probably not. Bam! Now I wonder if that's going to break any tests for autocomplete. We'll see, we'll see. How are we doing on building? Still working on it. So now I've got this new patch that is also for this bug. Send autocomplete. What is it? Autocomplete pop-up. Autocomplete. Init for autocomplete pop-up and async message from the parent. I'll probably have Felipe look at that one. All right. And that, I think, is it. This build hopefully is done soon. What I would love to be able to do is, let me see if I can quickly find some autocomplete tests. Some ref tests. Some autocomplete Moki tests for accessibility. Promise autocomplete result pop-up. Let's do that. But we want to do it in content. Autocomplete enter race. That sounds like a good one. Oh, that's if we're entering something into where. In the URL bar. That's no good. We need to enter it into content. Need to enter it into content. Here? Check autocomplete. Results. No. That's also from the URL bar. Do we want DOM tests? Maybe that's what we want. Test input autocomplete. Um, yeah, that might be worth doing. Test DOM test input autocomplete. Let's do this one. Wow, this build. It's like I had to rebuild everything. That's a pain. But maybe it's almost done. I'm just going to want to run this one test, see what happens, and then call it. So I can check this one off. Boom, boom. Chrome test for the disable global history thing I just added. There are probably some tests for autocomplete. I would imagine so. We're usually pretty good about testing. Okay, we linked Zool. That means we're almost done. Okay. Well, bam. Build complete. Let's just see. Let's just do a quick smoke test. Make sure the browser's not horribly busted. Oh. Looks like the browser's horribly busted. Oh boy. I must have gotten something wrong. All right. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a debug build now to figure out what I broke, and we will continue on next week as we try and figure out what the F is going on. What happened?
What happened?
I don't know, but things didn't go according to plan. That's what happens whenever you can't like quickly iterate. You're waiting for the build to finish and stuff. Well, I'll look into it. I'll write my findings in the bug. Okay. Thank you so much for watching episode 50 of The Joy of Coding. I hope this was interesting. I hope it was informative. Whoop. I don't think I have any breaks coming up, so I'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same sort of situation. Let me know what you thought of this episode. The Evernote agenda here. Let me go back to my screen. The agenda here with the links and stuff. There's one down here for rate this episode. Please let me know what you thought of this episode. Tell me if you liked me down in IPC, IPDL, C++ stuff. This was not an episode where I did a lot of code review. I didn't play any music, and it was just kind of like down in the gunk dealing with build stuff and bailing out of some ideas and trying new things. If you like that, let me know. Rate this episode and let me know what you think. There are a bunch of links to other live hackers, live coders, people doing interesting things in the Mozilla community that you might find interesting. A glossary of some terms you may have heard me use, and information on how to contact me. Because if you want to talk to me, you can. I'm on the internet. So there's information down there. And yeah, you can subscribe to The Joy of Coding, The Joy of Coding using iTunes or Kodi. If your media player has some kind of RSS reader, feed reader, there's a link here that you can get a feed, and then you'll never miss an episode. Also, if you're in the Mozilla community and you are interested in doing some live hacking, it doesn't have to be like what I'm doing. You could do it silently. You could do it to techno music. You could show people what you're doing, writing some documentation. Maybe you're trying to triage some bugs, figure out which component they go under, because that's really important. Or maybe you're doing some QA testing, or who knows what it is that you're doing. come talk to me. Come talk to myself. Come talk to Richard in the Hash live hacking channel. We will tell you all of the interesting things that you need to know in order to set a show up. Because it's really easy, and we need really, really awesome content here on Air Mozilla. I think that's all I wanted to say. Switching back to my face. Thanks again for watching episode 50 of The Joy of Coding. I hope it was pleasurable. See you next week. Bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.